I'm really excited today to have this next guy on. His name is Gary Zaydman, and he is an expert in helping people set up their own creation of online products, and even better than that, taking that to the next level and developing a coaching program from that. So this guy is really dialed in with the internet and setting up online programs. So I'm so thankful for having him on here today. How's it going, Gary?
Hey Chris, thanks for having me. It's
Yeah,
been awesome.
yeah. Thanks a lot for coming on today. And Gary, I think that I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you right now, and you can just kind of really tell all the folks watching and listening at home about how they can kind of ramp up their business and potentially generate more business and more clients for themselves using some of your top strategies that are helping you today with respect to the internet and social media and just kind of uh, gathering more business. So,
Okay.
tell us a little bit about yourself, just real quick, Gary, about kind of. Now, I know you've been doing this for a while, and you're really dialed in, and you got a lot of things going on. You're obviously well established in this industry. How did you become the expert in all of this, and just really, how'd you get started with your business and kind of and growing out to the level that you're at today?
Cool. Yeah, it's a good question. So the way that I started was a lot of failure. So I actually started off doing local marketing, which was helping local small businesses try to get their marketing and sales up to par. And even before that, I was just working for a corporation, and I wanted to leave. So I hated it, and I wanted to do something on my own. So I kind of studied marketing books and sales books and picked up a few things there and then started to say, well, who could use something like this? So I approached local companies, just small mom and pop shops, and said, hey, I could do your marketing, I could help you with this, I could establish your online presence, get you name in the email, get you an opt-in. And they didn't know what any of that stuff was. But I said, look, I can help you get more business and you pay me a little bit of money. And I'll do this for you month to month. So got some no's, got some yeses, started with that and built that business up. Then realized that that's not really a scalable business because then I had people working for me and I had an office and I had all these kind of expenses. I was making a lot of money, but I hated it, because there wasn't a standard offering. Um, but I got really good at sales during that process. And people started reaching out to me, or I started teaching people really how I was doing it. They were wondering how I did it. I put together an online product for that, sold over 1,000 units of that product on local marketing. It was called the Reputation Rebel System. And then other people, like the people who bought it, started reaching out to me and saying, hey, can you teach me? Can you coach me? Can you give me like a higher um, level of service, right? So it's hard to learn sales from a book. It's very easy to learn it when someone's teaching you how to do it. So that's how I got started is, people started paying me for, one-on-one time and they started to get results. And I was working with a lot of people one-on-one and making some good money, but I was like working a lot, So I thought, okay, well, the people that I'm teaching, I'm basically teaching them the same thing, right? So I'll get on a call with someone and they'll say, hey, and I'll say, okay, well, here's what you do. You do this, you do that, you do this. And through kind of working with people one-on-one, I've it was really a win for me because I got to really understand what the problems were and kind of refine my system, refine my ideas. And then the next level of that, once I kind of got the ideas and figured out exactly what was working for people, and the fact that I was teaching the same people, like different people, the same methods, I had this aha moment and I realized, okay, well, maybe I should just like sit down and record what it is I'm telling people and put that together in a program. So I did that and started selling that program. And now what I do is I sell that program and I also offer my coaching on top of that, where every week, I'll meet with my clients like I'm doing here in 25 minutes. And we go over exactly what their challenges and problems are. And that's kind of how I got started.
Wow, that is awesome. I'd love to know more about that, perhaps maybe on another call. But so the folks at home, what they're kind of what they'd really like to know is the pressing need now is how can one use social media and the internet today with trying to find more customers, clients, and especially people that they want to find someone who's looking to buy a house or someone that would like to sell a house. I know it's a pretty daunting task because there's so much stuff. There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's Facebook. It goes on, and it can be really like Calgon take me away for your average person that's really trying to deploy all of the stuff. And time is of the essence, and they've got paperwork, and they're showing houses, and they've got all kinds of stuff. So, what would you say, Gary, if you could just um, go through maybe a screen share? What are the top three things in your professional opinion that are working for you at least to try to cultivate new business and these people that want to buy your products and people that want your coaching services? How are you using? I would say Facebook is a safe bet. That's probably one of the top things today. There's about 1 billion people on Facebook. It's a no-brainer to go on there with a presence there professionally. So can you walk us through how you would use Facebook to try to get more customers in this day and age, really with a screen share?
Okay. So let me step back and kind of give you some ideas here about how to think about this.
Okay.
Um, what a lot of people start off with is kind of like what you were saying, which is that there's all these social media platforms and they're just trying to figure out how to use it all. Okay. And the thing is that you don't need to figure out how to use it all. You just need to figure out what's the one channel that would work the best. And
Right.
so if you're a realtor, and I'm assuming the people that are watching this right now, right, are realtors, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the best thing that you could do is just figure out, just break up your business into three parts. So your three parts are what happens before the person comes to you, what happens during, and what happens after. So we're going to focus this conversation on before, right? So where are your people, so to speak, before they come to you? So whether you're talking about online social media or you're talking about in the physical world, what you want to try to understand is where are my people? Where are they hanging out? So where are they hanging out? Well, if somebody is looking to buy a house, right? So the question is, where are they hanging out before they're looking to buy a house? That's the real question, right? Right, yeah. So where are your people before they come to you? And if you're selling a house, right, are these buyers or sellers or both?
It could be both. Real estate agents are consistently looking for either or.
Okay.
So they are constantly marketing to get either one. If the phone rings and it's someone that wants to buy a house, that's good. If it's someone that wants to sell their house, that's good too. But
Okay.
a real estate agent would prefer a seller.
A
And then
seller.
number two runner up would be a buyer. So the seller is the customer of choice.
Okay, cool. The seller. Okay, so I'll give you a few for both. So let's start with the seller. So if somebody wants to sell their house, what you got to think about is what's the first thing that they want to know, or what are a few things they need to know before they sell the house?
They want to know the value of their house.
That's right.
Yep.
Boom. So yeah, no brainer. They want to know. So if it's a seller, they want to know what's the value of their house relative to all the other houses in the market. If it's a
Yep.
buyer, they want to know what is the average home price like in this area for the different types of houses to see basically the question they're trying to answer is how much money, like how much of my money is going to be enough
Yeah.
to get the thing, like how much house can I get for what I got?
I was gonna say what they can afford. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically, like, yeah, what can I afford? But even more, it's like, what's the best that it's not what I can afford because look, not most of the people who are going to buy a house, frankly, can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to go for the house they can afford. They're going to go for the house they want,
Right.
okay? And then they're going to figure out a way to afford it, right? Um, so that's an important distinction there that you want to keep in mind. So you don't want to sell an affordable house. You want to sell them the house they want.
Yeah.
Um, so let's assume that you're talking, let's say the seller. Okay. So then if you want to get the seller as a lead, what you got to start with is what do they want to know, and what can you put together that's free? That's important. What can you put together that's free that
Right.
you could offer to them such that they can put their name and email and they can get it for free
Yeah.
and turn into a lead?
Yeah. So that would be the lead magnet,
That's
right?
right.
And yeah.
Yeah. So that
I
would
know,
be the lead. Yep.
we kind of we discussed that if you for the just to kind of put it in a frame of reference here for the people watching. Go back and watch if you haven't seen it already, but go back if you need to watch it again. Go back and watch Module 1 with Nathan Amaral, where he talks about the lead magnet and the guy fishing in the pond. So this is not pie in the sky, folks. All the experts, they're on the same page with this, and that's really where it's at. Is you got to start with the fundamentals and the lead magnet. I'm sorry, Gary. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to kind of just for clarification purposes, I wanted to tie it all in. But yeah, that's great. All right, go ahead, Gary. This is awesome. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah. And Nathan's awesome. Nathan is
Yeah.
is great. I've actually worked with Nathan, so highly recommend him as well. Um, so cool. So the main idea should be obvious, right? So we could repeat the main idea over and over again. Most people do. But the important thing to keep in mind about the strategy is that most people don't do it. So if you know it and you haven't done it yet, you don't know it. That's the important thing, right? Somebody might say, well, oh yeah, I know I'm supposed to uh, give a free thing and then get a name and email and
Yeah.
whatever, okay? But they don't have that in place, then they don't know it. So that's number one, okay? So then going on with the strategy then is, okay, well, I know that I need to have a name and email. I know I need to build a list. I know I need to give something away. And then the next question becomes, well, what is that, right? What do I give away? And if you're trying to get a seller as a lead, then what you should be giving away is a guide to the housing prices for those types of houses.
Yep.
Okay, so that would be the first thing would be creating that thing, and that's not difficult because you can go into, I'm not a realtor, so I don't know all the details, but you can go to MLS, and you could find, I imagine you could find how many houses sold, what prices they sold at,
Oh
and
yeah.
take a few pictures of all that and put that together in a little report, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So the next thing then is, so you have to put that together, and that's not hard. Okay, that's not hard. But the important thing that is that it needs to be timely, right? So you can't put it together one time. So this is something that should be put together, I would probably say like once a month or maybe twice a month. Probably once a month is my gut feeling. So what you would do is you would say, well, let's say it's October right now, so it'd be like what's an area that you live in, Chris?
I live in Harford County in the state of Connecticut, specifically Plainville.
Okay, cool. So is Plainville the city?
Yes.
Okay. So then what I would do is if I was trying to get a seller as a lead, what I would do is I would put together, was it Plainview?
Ville. Yeah. A
Plainville.
Ville. Plainville.
Okay, cool. So then I would say, okay, well, the October 2014 guide to Plainville housing prices. Okay, and
Yeah.
if I was trying to get condos, I would say condo prices, or if it was a duplex, it'd be duplex prices, right?
Oh yeah. That's
And
good.
it might be helpful to actually put together different guides based on the different type of leads that you want to attract, right? So the more specific and targeted your information is to your target audience, the better, because then they can look at it and they could say, "Oh wow, that's for me. That's something. Oh, awesome. Like I want to get that." So that's step number one, is figuring out well, step one is figuring out exactly what information they would need right now to get to their next step of what it is they want.
Right.
Step two is once you have that information, putting that information together so that you could offer it for free. And then step three would be, okay, now you have this information um, put together. Now the question is, where are my people hanging out such that I can make the offer for this, make this free offer to them such that they can take it. So once you're at step three, then you just start asking the question, okay, where are they hanging out offline? Where are they hanging out online? And just break those down, right? So we could start with offline or online. For realtors, I'd really start with offline to get the
Okay.
fastest results and to kind of test to make sure that your things are working.
Right.
Because mm, it's just more expensive to do it online, right? So if you have some budget, if you have a budget available, certainly you could do it online. All the businesses that I've started with literally no money, right?
Mm.
Or I started with debt. So I've never raised venture capital. I've never really borrowed money. Every single sale or business, transaction I've ever made has just come from just hustling it up, right? So uh, when you're starting out, if you don't have a lot of money to put it into online without having all the elements in place, you're just not sure what's working and what's not. It's not really easy to tell,
Right.
especially if you're new to this.
Yeah.
Especially if you're new to this.
Yeah, and that's an important distinction there. You touched upon a very important point. Many of the people that are probably watching this tutorial, they're brand new agents. They have yet to do a closing. They
Hmm.
just stepped out of the class, and they're probably out a good $1,000 because they got to pay all the fees and the dues, and the cost to take the class and the books, and you got to get a broker. They're nickel and dime to death right out of the gate before they make any money, so they're already in a red. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that's interesting. I always thought that the offline, mailing people, I always thought that that was more expensive, but that's cool. Yeah, for your person that really is, they're bootstrapping it and they have no money and they need a closing ASAP. Okay, so your top tools that you would do for offline, are flyers, I don't know, direct mail campaigns. So what's working for you, or what would you recommend just to kind of expand upon that point that you just made?
Yeah.
A new person, say okay, go offline,
Yeah, exactly. So what's working for me won't actually work for realtors in the exact same way. So that's why I want
right?
to make that
Okay,
distinction.
yeah,
Is so probably the closest equivalent is when I was doing local marketing. So I was selling to small businesses, which is kind of like selling to somebody who's selling a house. It's like in the physical world, right?
yep,
So when I was doing that, a lot of online stuff wasn't really working that well. I mean, it was working, but it wasn't working that well, right? Because they weren't searching for it, right? So local businesses aren't there like searching most of the time for it. They know they have a problem, but
yeah,
you know, they're not really like actively searching online. It's not really easy to find out what they're
mm,
searching for either.
all right,
So when I started that business, how I started it and the method that I ended up teaching people, which actually worked for me once I figured out, oh my God, this is working for me. I want to show it to other people, was direct mail and a free offer. So
okay,
this is the important thing. So I get a lot of flyers from realtors, and most of them just look like shit, right?
yeah,
There's no value in them. They'll just say like, oh, house sold, sold by John. Call John, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, that's as sophisticated as it usually gets, right? And that won't do the job, okay?
right,
Or I don't think it will do the job well. It might do the job some of the time, but it's not a consistent. What you want is you want one method, right? This is important. You want one method that works consistently every time you use it so that you could scale that method.
okay,
Okay, that's what you need. You need one method. You don't need 100 methods. You don't need 10. You need one that can scale effectively, which means, what does that mean? That means when you spend $100 or $200 for these type of flyers or this direct response letter that has a free offer for this guide, out of 100 or 1,000 pieces that you'll get a response rate of 10 or 15 or 3 or whatever that percentage is. So once you know that response rate, then it's just a matter of scaling that, right? And it's not what's important here is that you're not thinking about how to save money, okay? You're not trying to figure out what's the cheapest form of lead generation. No, you're trying to figure out what's the most effective form of lead generation, and it could be the most expensive form of lead generation. But expensive is relative, right? So when I work with people, it's many thousands of dollars, right? That's
Right.
where it starts. When I work with them for the year, it's over $15,000, right?
Yeah.
So a lead to me is worth a lot. So
Right.
I could afford to spend $500 or
Yeah.
$1,000 for a good lead, no problem.
Yeah. Because your return on your investment is, yeah, it's good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, uh, so an offline way, right? So getting back to like a more tactical thing, an offline way is come up with your offer, come up with your free offer, such that they request the information for free, and there is no pitch in that offer. This is important. Okay, there is no pitch in that offer. The purpose of that offer is just get them to raise their hand, get them to leave their phone number, get them to leave their email, leave a voicemail, right? So an example of this is that they could actually just call, right? How could they turn into a lead? They could call. You could say, to get this guide, call this toll-free number or just number, and it's an automatic thing, right?
Right.
And then when they call, you let them know it's an automatic thing. You let them know that there's nobody that's going to be picking up the phone, because then people won't call because they think somebody's going to try to sell them something.
Right.
Okay, so that's important too. So they call this toll-free automatic number, and you say, hey, this is John. I'm a realtor here at whatever city you're in. Thank you so much for requesting that guide. At the tone, leave your name, email, speak slowly, so on and so forth. And I'll send that to you for free. Just let me know, like, do you want it as an email, or do you want it as a physical copy? If you want the physical copy, send me, leave your address, and I'll send you that guide. Here comes the tone. Beep.
That's interesting. And I know a lot of agents that they kind of they experiment and they play with different types of things that they can send people, brochures, and I've tried the flyer thing before too, but I think that I made that mistake myself too. Is I never really, it was more of just like a billboard or just an ad, kind of like shouting at people. Like I made it all colorful and beautiful, like, hey, call me if you're looking to buy or sell a house, but there's no value in that. So a
Right.
person would see it, and I had it in pretty high traffic areas too, like supermarkets and like the barber shop that I go to and the pizza place that I get food from. And I don't think that one person called me because it was just my picture with a phone number, and it was nice. It was a nice looking flyer. Like I put money into it, and it was great. I had it professionally done. But it's just like the moral of the story is your average person sees it and says, "What's in it for me? Who cares? There's no value," and then they just go on with their life. And then my flyer is just kind of collecting dust. But that's good stuff, Gary. All right, so your recommendation, for a person maybe right after they get off this call, they say, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to start up. I got my offer. I think I got something valuable that I can distribute to people. Maybe it's market information, or it'll be information about schools in the area or something along those lines. And then now, as far as deploying that out to people, what do you like? You like postcards? You like direct mail? You like flyers? Or does it really matter? Is it just kind of get that list of people that they can kind of target and then send it out to people? I mean, postcards or a letter in the mail. I mean, does it really matter, or is it just as long as it's valuable for the person getting it? That's the moral of the story there.
Yeah,
Or
good question. Good question.
yeah,
So first of all, I want to give credit to a guy that I learned this strategy from, because I didn't invent this strategy. So
yeah,
the credit to the guy who I learned the strategy from. His name is Dean Jackson,
yeah.
and he actually specializes in helping realtors. So I would
Yeah.
check out his system. I don't have any affiliate link for that. That's just something I would recommend him.
I'm actually
Um,
trying to get him on here for an interview. I hit him up, but he's probably swamped with traveling and everything. But okay, I didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, Dean is good stuff. I've heard of him.
Yeah, so what I did was when I heard Dean talk about, his system for realtors, I actually just applied that same strategy to local marketing when I was doing that. So the point is that that system works and it works really well. Now, the important thing that what you said there is like what kind of way do you recommend postcards, direct mail, or something else, right? And so this is really important, and I want to touch on this is that what you want to do, right, in business is not try to figure everything out yourself. Okay, it's like a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, it is.
So, like for you, yeah,
No, I was just giggling at the what because you hit the nail right on the head. I've been down that road myself.
yeah. So, like Chris, like when you did, if you're comfortable sharing this, like when you did your flyers or whatever type of ad that you ran, how much did it cost to put that ad together?
Well, I
Roughly.
know that. Well, I know that one. It was probably a year or two ago. I did a postcard campaign, and I dropped a few $100. I went to like Vistaprint. I designed it myself, made it real nice, and I was like, I can't remember what the offer was or what the verbiage, but if I recall correctly, I don't think it. I think it was probably a halfway valuable message. I think I was working with like people that flip houses at the time, and I think it was I had some bullet points on there where it was like, hey, we buy houses cash, in any condition, as is. If you want a quick closing, call us. So I tried a little bit, but I know I dropped a few $100 on it, and I don't recall my phone ringing at all. But that was probably just I did it like a one-time shot, and yeah. So let me see the flyers that just hanging up in the pizza shop, etc. That was relatively inexpensive. I think maybe $50. I got like a whole stack of them, but not a lot of not my phone wasn't ringing on that either.
Yeah.
So
So so take that as an example, right? So if you had a strategy, right, that worked, then it probably makes sense to pay like a few $1,000s for that, right? Because you
yeah,
can get an ROI.
right,
Versus spending a couple $100s on something that didn't work, plus your time, plus all this other thing, plus trying something new, plus being annoyed that nothing worked that you spend your time on, right?
yeah,
So the real important thing that I want to drive here home here is that I spent a lot of, and like this is why I'm saying this, is that I spent a lot of my own time and energy trying to figure out stuff on my own early on, okay? And it really cost me a lot, right? It cost me a lot of time, money, stress, not having the things that I wanted to have at that moment, not being able to get them as quickly as I wanted. So what I want to say here is that your question was which forms work the best, right?
yeah,
So what I would say is that if you're a realtor and you're trying to figure out what's going to work the best, I would say one, don't try to figure it out on your own, right? So you're not an expert in marketing yet, right? So your job is to sell houses. Your job is to sell people on the idea that they should work with you, right? So you should focus your energies on that, right? And what you should do is you should follow somebody who's got a proven system, okay? And it might take you a few systems, like you might go through a few systems and some might not work for you, right? For
mm,
whatever reason. So it might take a few systems. But invest the money, invest the time in working like if you're a realtor, I would say, look, you need to work with Dean. I think Dean is probably the best guy in that industry,
yeah,
right? And just follow buy Dean's program or buy Dean's coaching program and follow his system, okay? Because it's proven to work and it's going to likely work for you if you work it. And that's
right,
much better than trying to figure out, oh, like, should I, like he recommends postcards, right? So he recommends postcards and he gives you exactly like what to put on the card and the exact ad and the
yeah,
exact landing page. And he even has a website. I forget what it is, but it's like done for you realtor websites or something like that.
yeah,
Don't quote me on that. But I would say it's really expensive to try to figure out stuff on your own. That being said, if you're crazy enough and you want to try to figure it out on your own, I would go through the steps of saying, okay, putting together that guide, And once you have it, then it's just a matter of what media you're going to use, right?
Hmm.
So that could be social media, right? That could be going in and setting up, like one tool I recommend is lead pages. So
Okay.
leadpages.net. And
And that is, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is for the purposes of capturing that email address, right? That's what
yeah,
Lead Pages is for?
yeah. So
Yep.
before and again, I have no affiliation with lead pages. I don't get
Right.
anything from saying it. Just something that I use.
Yeah. No, I've
Um,
heard Nathan mention it before too. Yeah.
Yeah, so before lead pages, you'd have to like set up, you'd have to pay somebody to design this whole name, email thing,
Right.
and it'd be easily a couple $100 to just put that together, and then it would
Yeah.
still look crappy. Then you have to pay a couple thousand. So this service allows you to just pay whatever it is for the year, a couple $100 or whatnot, and it's drag and drop. You can design your page. You could collect names and emails with a system like Aweber or
Yep.
get response, and then you could start offering your guide, right? So you could offer your guide as a direct mail piece. You could write a sales letter that advertises that guide. Um, you could you could offer that guide online via lead pages and run a Facebook ad to it and do a promoted post. You could offer that guide as free just on your Facebook, right? You could go to Facebook groups and try to find where if there's a group of people that are interested in selling their houses, or maybe they're part of an association, right? In that neighborhood. So it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what they want, exactly what kind of information they're looking for, because everyone's looking for information, the
Yeah.
right information. If you could position yourself to be that source of the information, uh, then that's a really effective way of getting leads, and you won't have to, pressure someone or cold call them. I've never done cold calling. I
Right.
have, but maybe I've kind of semi tried it, but I've never been good at it.
Yeah.
And I just realized, like, okay, that's just not something I'm gonna do. Like, I don't enjoy that process. I like to keep my business really chill, keep my lifestyle really chill. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's stressful. That's just a stressful process, right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
convert people and they're not interested. No, you want to talk to people that are interested uh, in the next step, right? Maybe that's free information. Maybe that's working with you later on, but hopefully that makes sense.
Gary, I think it's about that time. I know that your time is very valuable, and I think that you have to go on to your next endeavor.
Yep.
But really quick, where can people find out more about you if they want to know, about all the awesome stuff that you do?
Yeah, best way is Facebook, Gary Zaydman on Facebook, facebook.com/GaryZ. Um, I have a few websites, Reputation Rebel System for my local marketing product that I sold, or GaryZaban.com.
Yeah, this is good stuff, and thank you very much for that extra minute. According to my watch here, I think we're a little
Yeah,
bit over, but
cool.
I would really love to kind of plant the seed here, and maybe we can do another call down the road to kind of expand upon some of the great stuff that you mentioned. But I love how you really dialed it back down to just some fundamental stuff that people should be doing. So great stuff, Gary, and I think we'll just kind of we'll call it a day here with this session here for Lead Generation University. Thank you so much, Gary, and that was great stuff. Those couple of little action items and those tips, I think that they'll probably be helpful. If people choose, if they take the action on it, I think it'll be good stuff for people's for business and to find people who want to buy or sell a house. All right, so thanks everybody. That's all for today, and I will see you in the next module. Thanks, and take care.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Take care.